Hi, this is Matthew. Just want to talk about a kind of a series, British series called The Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy. It has been books and radio dramas and a brief TV kind of limited series thing. It has also been a movie and stuff. And it was by Douglas Adams. Started out as a radio series. And it did really well, so they made a second one. And then, in the meantime, he wrote the first two radio series as books, which were The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, which had different things in them. Then he wrote Life, the Universe, and Everything, It's Long and Things for All the Fish, and then Mostly Harmless. Finished it out. Those became radio series in about 2004 or 5, thereabouts. Very good stuff. It's very funny. Also around a guy named Arthur Dent, whose life was going fine, and all of a sudden he is informed that his house is going to be torn down to make way for a new bypass, which he's not very happy about, and doesn't understand why in the world it has to be built that way, and tries to complain to the right people, and basically he just gets told, well, it's being done, you were informed, but even though he had to go look for it and go down to a basement and everything to find it in this planning office and all that. And he also has met a man named Ford Prefect. He's known for about 15 years. Yeah, weird name, right? Well, it turns out he's not human. He's from Beetlejuice, which I think is a star. I forget where it is exactly. But he writes for a book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is, nothing, of course, humans have ever read because we don't have space travel and things. But he was sent there to do research on the book. It said harmless. Now it says mostly harmless because that was the only one thing they could put in from his long entries. Apparently, he had to trim it down. That's their summation of Earth. But in the meantime, these people called the Vogons, who are very bureaucratic and like triplicate forms and stuff, they, I guess, make the way for this. There's a new hyperspace bypass being built, which of course no one on Earth knows about, which they do inform them about. But Ford has gotten wind of these things happening on his little radio he has, Sabitha radio, and is trying to tell Arthur about it, and he doesn't know what to think of it. It does happen, but the Vogons do come and blow up the Earth, but luckily Ford has a little thing they call hitchhikers, guys that just run around the galaxy and do things and explore and visit planets. He has a little thing that ships can lock onto his little, basically like a tracking device, humming signal kind of thing. And they do find a ship, so they are not killed. They beam onto the Heart of Gold, which was stolen by a man named Zephod Beeblebrox, who is the president of the galaxy. He has 2 heads. There's an android on board called Morven, who was made by the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation as a test to see if they could get a more human robot. Well, it didn't work out. He's very depressed and makes sure everyone knows about it, and talks about how great his brain is and how menial tasks he has to do, like open doors and take people to the bridge, and complaining about the doors on the ship that thank you for their day and stuff because they're too happy and cheery, and he hates it. Which is great stuff. But also on board was someone named Trisha McMillan, or Trillian, who Arthur had met at a party. Of course, he doesn't know that, of course, till later. She was whisked on board by Zaphod. He lured her with things about how great the galaxy was out there and how boring Earth is, basically. without giving too much away, well, they all meet up on the ship and have all kinds of crazy adventures throughout. Also, in the meantime, there was a BBC 6-part series. It was basically like kind of the first part of the radio series, basically. Different actors were involved. Well, some were the same, but there were a couple different actors. It's also funny. And there was a movie later on in 2005 of basically the first book. Didn't go anywhere, but all really funny. They all diverge from each other. They're not quite the same telling. In fact, the first 2 radio series, there were record albums released, which are available digitally. I don't know about on disc. I found a digital version I could purchase. That actually, they're very different. Different music. Some actors are different. They do kind of do different other things as well. Even though they were basically from the first 2 radio series that they made. So they're all different. They all diverge, but they're all really funny. Douglas Adams also, he narrated his books at one point. Numerous libraries for the blind have done them. Some have the radio shows too. I bought the radio series on CD. There was a big collection BBC put out, and I did get that back in 2005, I think it was. I was all of them. There was even a thing some bonus documentaries on the back on a separate disc. I don't know if that's still available. I know they are around. Just go look at them. I'm sure they're on Amazon, and if nothing else, you might have to import them from the UK. That's what I ended up doing. And yeah, it came out pretty well, considering. I think the lid's kind of messed up on my. Or no, it's not that one. It's another set I have. It has a cool magnet lid and everything. Neat, funny shows, really weird humor, kind of absurd. He also wrote 2 books about a detective called Dirk Gently that's also similar. He did write for Doctor Who. He was, I think, a script advisor or something for a season. Did write a whole season of episodes. And one other one earlier. He's done some work with Monty Python. I want to say it was in season 3 or 4 for Monty Python's Flying Circus. Did some writing for them. Even he's a really funny comedian and writer. In fact, Arthur Dent from the radio series he knew from like his university days and stuff in theater, and he purposely wrote the part for him. It's for his name Simon Jones to play, and he accepted, and it's been there ever since. Great stuff, all kinds of weird creatures, and of course there's always like book quotations and different things that come into it from the Hitchhiker's Guide. I don't want to spoil it if you never read it, but please at least maybe go read the first book or hear the first part of the radio series. Of course, you don't always have to know what's going on just because it's just ridiculous, funny stuff. It's really funny. I don't know what else to say about it. Without giving too much away. Of course, going back to the movie, it's totally different actors. In fact, even Muppets are used from Jim Henson. So if you like Muppets, watch it at least for the Muppet characters. The Vogons are all Muppets, and I think there's another group of creatures that are mentioned in the book, but they actually you see them and stuff. It's really funny. And oh. Yeah, and there's and the dolphins also. The thing about Earth was in this series that it was basically a 10,000-year program to figure out what they had the answer to life, the universe, and everything from another computer, which is, I'll say, 42. Yes, 42. And so that computer built the Earth and got some people from a planet called Magrathea. They make planets. They got them to make it. And there's a guy named Slutty Bartfast who they meet. He makes fjords, which he, of course, used on Norway and stuff. But there's little funny things like that. And like the mice left the Earth. They're intelligent. They want to know the answer. The dolphins left also and said thanks for all the fish when they left, but no one knew what they were saying. Which in the movie they sing a song about that, which I just about lost myself when I watched it. About died laughing because like they're gonna sing. Yes, they are. Oh man. And yeah. As far as the movie is audio described on iTunes and stuff. Not our DVD. It was in the UK. If you want to try to play Region 2 DVDs, you could try to go find it there. The digital one is fine. It's the same. I think it's the same narration. I do have it on DVD here, but just there's no narration. They do dub the song "And Thanks for All the Fish" song in the movie, so maybe other language dubs have it too. I have no way of checking that, but it's just a funny, crazy bunch of stuff. Everything diverges. Nothing is the same, no matter what it's adapted from. And then later on, after Douglas Adams died, somebody got, I guess he had some just stuff running around that he didn't publish, and wrote "And Another Thing." I forget his name right now. That came out as a book and an audiobook, and then also came out as a radio series that people came back for. They actually played Marvin, was not there, it was a different guy. Some things like that were changed, but it was also very funny. The best part to me in that was there are cows, basically, that I think it's just cows, but they want you to know how great they are and what you should eat off of them, which they do have in the restaurant of the universe in the book and the movie, not in the radio series. I don't even think on the record albums it was there. I can't recall. Which is sad. I just heard the record albums again. But they come up in this "And Another Thing" book. I assume in the book, but definitely in the radio version. I need to read the book. I have not read the book yet. But the radio show was really funny. They creep up they come up in an episode. And very funny stuff. Where did I get that one? Did I import that one? I want to say I did. I remember I think it was available here. I'm not sure. But I don't remember if I imported that one or not. I know the original Hitchhikers stuff I did. I've heard him read the books, Douglas Adams. I don't have them. I will probably track them down. I've only heard him read the third one years ago on tape, but I know he reads the other one, 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 also. In fact, for the Life, the Universe, and Everything, he always talked about how he wanted to play one of the creatures in it. Well, they took his narration from the book and put it into the radio series, so he actually gets to play that creature. He just wasn't alive to do it, but he does get to play that creature. It's really funny. He's got a really funny voice for it, which I had forgotten all about, but he does get to be included in the radio series, even if he's not directly, but they use his reading of that narration and work it into the story. Really, really funny. And there's some good sound effects from the creature has wings and stuff, and it's making all kinds of flying sounds and stuff. It's really funny. Definitely go and check this series out, whichever way you want to do it in. Might be able to find CDs still. It was on tapes, of course, years ago. Everything's available in digital at various places wherever you Audible and other places you buy books, and they have radio dramas as well. Apple Books, even Google. I'm sure, or maybe, I don't know if Microsoft does anything like that. I don't think they do. I think it's just applications, but numerous places you can get. Anywhere you can get audiobooks, you probably can find the radio shows and the books. The little 6-part miniseries is on, I think it's still on BritBox. There's been a few DVD versions of it. I have one from, I think about 05 or something. That probably can get it digitally. I haven't looked. The movie I have digitally, I don't know who's streaming it right now. Hopefully somebody is. I think it's a Universal one. You might check Peacock or just check any of the streaming services if you want to watch it. I don't know if they have the description track. I know iTunes did. That's why I got it there, so I could have it described. But I don't know. I haven't looked. I don't know who's got it right now. If anyone does, they might. Nobody may. I don't know. But go have a look. It's really the movie was pretty funny as well. Yeah, just a really funny series. Yeah. Don't know much to say other than that, but besides just check it out for yourself if you haven't. Maybe go back and revisit it if you haven't for a while. I keep going back to the radio dramas quite frequently. Different times in my life, I'll go back and hear them again, just because they're just good fun. But I think that will do it for this one. I think. I will go ahead and end this now, and I will see you guys in another video.